Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is Tuesday, January 26, 2021. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, and intuitive astrologer. And I'm here today with your weekly Pick an Angel card reading. What this is an interactive experience where you will allow your intuition to lead you as to which reading would be most appropriate for you for this week. Or you can set an intention to ask your team of guides and angels, masters and ascended ones, what they want you to know, or a specific question, and then allow your intuition to lead you to which spread is going to be most applicable. I'm going to be doing 5 spreads using 3 decks. The first is Kyle Gray's Angels and Ancestors, and I pull one card from that deck as a thread that goes through the reading. So regardless of what your topic is, it will be the underlying energetic vibration with which you stand on. And then the messages from your angels and the Legend of Avalon deck will bring in more detail. So let's jump right in with angel reading number 1. For you, I pulled the Kyle Gray card, the High Priest, and it says, intend and create. And if you look at this card very closely, you can see that he is intending with ease. There is almost a smirk on his face, an inner knowing that he is powerful in his intention. And I feel like that's something that you're going to want to purport is the ease of your own intentions. It's not about pushing. It's not about forcing. It's about being able to sit in an inner knowing that if I intend it, I can create it. So in the first position, in the angel's advice, okay, so this is how this is going to work. The first position represents the foundational aspect, meaning the platform. The second is the opportunity or the obstacle. The third position is the angel's advice. And the final position is the potential energetic outcome of the situation. In the foundational position, for those of you that picked angel reading number 1, is really to pay attention to where your ego is edging God out. We have Shanti, the angel of peace, and we have the goblin representing the wounded human ego. In order for you to feel peace about what you are intending to create, you're going to have to, in some ways, be brave to see where your ego is telling you a story that may not necessarily be true. And I say that because it feels very much like the ego is pulling about a bunch of what ifs. Well, what if this doesn't happen? What if you're not good enough about this? And what if you're not good enough about that? So allowing yourself to suspend that ego's voice, not to listen to it and not to villainize it, but rather to seek peace through it. Because if you think about it, anything that you intend to create, there will be a certain amount of trepidation as you ponder and meander down the road of that intention and creation. So in the opportunity and or the obstacle is the angel Fiona saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving that help, that you are deserving of God's help. And again, we see ease and we see joy. And then we have the letting go card. Now, a lot of people will talk about let go of this, let go of that. I personally am a Taurus moon and I don't let go of things easily. So rather than torturing myself and trying to learn how to let it go or just to turn it over to God, I'm not wired that way. I was instructed by my guides to transform this into the words from the song Let It Go from Frozen. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. That's where I go back to the first position of the ego. The ego saying, well, this could happen or this bad thing could happen. And your job, those of you that picked angel reading number 1, is to seek peace by not villainizing your ego, but rather allowing some distance so that God can bring you an experience that supports that idea that fear is just false evidence appearing real. In the angel's advice, we have transformation in the form of the death card, and we have Ray. Ray will talk about, on the face of the card, exercise and yoga being essential to your well-being, but she's sitting in a meditative position. She's connecting her power chakra, as represented by the yellow coming out of her third eye, with her heart chakra, the green stripe, and the throat chakra, the blue stripe. The angels are asking you to sit in meditation and to muse about what it feels like when God and the angels have started to deliver what it is you intend to create. As you allow for that musing, it builds a vibration of joy, which then accelerates the manifestation process. Because in the final position, you're going to have to be vulnerable. Yvonne represents vulnerability to me, of a bigger picture, to your partnership with your ego and with spirit. There is a reason that the human is designed with the id, the ego, and the higher self. They all work in some ways in coordination with one another. It is through the experience of fear that we actually feel the exhilaration of achievement. So as we come to peace with the idea that the ego will ebb and flow through each thing that we intend to create, it will ask us if we're worthy enough. It will ask us if we're smart enough, if we're talented enough. And our job is to know that, yes, indeed we are, and that we are in a journey of self-discovery, that we don't have to be perfect at anything. And it is our job in some ways to allow the transformation to happen by continuing to connect with spirit in a very intentional way. That's the yellow stripe again. And allowing ourselves to be vulnerable to the partnership as spirit takes the baton and makes the next move. And then you must wait for the inspired action after they've had their turn. All right, let's go on to angel reading number 2. For those of you that picked angel reading number 2, we have the Kyle Gray card, the Oracle. Wait for important information. This information is coming from your intuition. If you look at this woman on the front of the card, she is cleansing her vibration. It looks almost as if she's burning some sort of sage or maybe frankincense. And she is sitting in surrender. And I find this snake, it looks like it's a piece of jewelry. And it to me is very much a healing as I connect to the higher realms of my knowing. And I take notice of the red of her scarf. The red really represents the base chakra, and the base chakra is best served as we continue to nurture the multidimensional parts of being human. The ebb and the flow that our eyes, her eyes are closed, don't always see the truth of the path. It is through the inner knowing and through the allowing of clearing the energy. So those of you that picked angel reading number 2 may want to sage your environment this week and give yourself an opportunity to do that and go into an inner knowing, meaning, or allow for an inner, a quieting of the inner mind so that inspiration may come through. In our first position, in the angel's advice, in the foundational position, for those that picked angel reading number 2, we have the spider and we have Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel is the angel of communications, of arts. In this particular, she's representing everything that we do these days is communications. We're on our devices all the time. So I want to offer it this way. For those of you that picked angel reading number 2, this week, I think the spider is directly related to creative projects, and Archangel Gabriel overseeing the creation of or co-creating with you, giving you courage, giving you inspiration, giving you the security to really trust your own talents and your own gifts. And then I go back to the Oracle because I feel like this information may not be like, information that you would say get through the news, but more like information that comes through inspiration. In the opportunity and or the obstacle is the wealth card and the angel Omega, which represents victory. Keep up the good work. And this is a harmonious wealth card. It's not just about money. It's about feeling and thriving in the many facets of the human experience, my emotional body, my spiritual body, my mental body, my physical body. And this is my opportunity and or my obstacle. So if indeed I am endeavoring on a creative dynamic and I'm in some ways struggling with it, because Archangel Gabriel is telling me that I'm having some kind of insecurity about it or unsureness about it, my being able to keep my eye on the prize of what it feels like when I get to the end of that chapter of creation. Because in the angel's advice, we have again the communications card. And I say again because Archangel Gabriel representing communications in the foundational position. And Adriana says she's leading you to the answer to your prayers through your dreams, through your inspirations, through your thoughts, through those subtle yearnings. So I very much feel that this is a time of creative endeavors, but it's that not necessarily the time of doing the action or the actual crafting or the writing or the shooting, filming of your creation, but to allow yourself to sit in a space where you actually muse about the journey of it, about how it has started and how it has flowed. And then if you find yourself in a bit of a roadblock or a speed bump of some kind, engaging Archangel Gabriel to help clear the fog, to clear whatever insecurities you have. Because in the final position, this is what is holding you back. Is there something emotionally happening that is stopping you or making you feel as if you are unworthy, is the way I want to put it. And I feel like that's not true. And let me say it this way. If indeed you are endeavoring a creative project that makes you feel vulnerable, that you are exposing a part of your inner self, that you're unsure of how it will be received, I want to offer you the idea that whoever is the recipient of your creative project will be more than likely relating their own experience into their assessment of your creative project. And in doing so, they may not see the vulnerability that you feel you are showing. So allow for spirit to bring to you relatability. Allow them to bring to you a sense of security that as you are vulnerable to your rawest creation, your most open space, that there will be a place where it will be received. And I think that starts with your heart. And as your heart allows for that reception, it draws in those that will then benefit from it. So that feels very strong. And it also feels like it lets you, the people who picked angel reading number 2, to come to a place where you come to an emotional reconciliation, where you have looked deeper into a situation and you realize that you could potentially be carrying an old story that is no longer truly valid. Meaning I'm not good enough, I'm not talented enough. And yet you have lived enough life where you have experienced, learned, practiced your craft or your creation enough where it is time and you are good enough. All right, let's go on to angel reading number 3. Our Kyle Gray card that I picked, the over card, is Father Sky. Trust in the universe. This is really very, very powerful. And when I look at the face of this card, not only do I feel solace from looking at Father Sky, I also feel like there's some shocking information coming. The eagle almost feels like it's flying into lightning. If you look at here, the talons are right up against this lightning bolt. of electricity. So it could be very much so that there are shocking events that are coming through. And the ego for me also represents integrity. So your ability to stand in integrity, regardless of whatever shocking, unexpected, um, I almost want to say you may even feel nervous about something unexpectedly, or feel it brewing in the, we have a full moon coming this week, which is the culmination of things, just so that we can end one thing and start a new thing. So those of you that picked angel reading number 3 may have an inner knowing that feels slightly foreboding. And yet your job is to trust in God, that you are being watched over and there is a bigger wisdom. Because in the foundational position, we have the horse indicating that you are going to go into a new direction. And that direction is much more aligned per Astera to what you want to experience on this planet. And we have a stellium of planets, speaking of planets, in Aquarius. Aquarius, for this little period of time, including this week, January 26, 2021, that stellium in the 11th house of Aquarius not only represents humanity and the collective, but it represents our own personal hopes and dreams and desires and wants and abundance. So as you trust in the unknown, and in the unknown, it's a bigger picture of things going on and in the universe, okay? And you give yourself permission to actually go in a new direction, to delegate to spirit in some ways, and to take authority over your dreams. You will find that you have an opportunity to make choices based on a soul's yearning. Sonia represents a deceased loved one, but in this particular case right now, with the mystery card representing the choice of the human to come down and exercise free will, and then at the same time, having a soul's yearning, a soul's knowing that the choices that I'm meant to make in this lifetime are very much to be about what comes to the deepest depths of my heart's desires. Because the angels are saying that as you honor your feelings, as you honor your emotions, that there will be a happy change and a new birth in some ways coming as a result of that. It's a risky, it feels like a risky choice because I don't have evidence here in my opportunity or my obstacle. I only have this inner soul's knowing, and the angels telling me to trust this inner knowing, which is evidenced again by Father Sky and trusting in something unseen. Because in the final position, you will learn, or you will experience yourself being able to manifest evidence of a new beginning. It won't be a complete manifestation, but you will understand and you will feel a certain sense of alchemy with your connection to the other side. You will feel a sense of justice and balance, that while your desires are still in process, they are very much heard by spirit, and not just something outside of yourself, but something that is within yourself. It's almost as if, in trusting in the unknown that Father Sky represents, the unknown is that third part of yourself. That, there's the id that represents our survival. There's the ego that asks us if we're worthy enough. And then there's the oversoul that knows that we are. Our oversoul holds a space for us and our greatest dreams beyond what our physical experience would indicate. So here, I feel like at the end of the week, for those of you that picked angel reading number 3, the sense of self that you have, it's almost like this full moon in Leo. And please refer to my video there for more details. But Leo represents the heart. Leo represents the 5th house of personal creation and personal genius. And so to me, as you connect with that part of yourself, your oversoul that knows that you are capable and that you have aligned in many ways to have that experience. And now your job is to allow it in. Allow for the process, invite it in, and then hold yourself in reception of that. All right, let's go on to angel reading number 4. Our Kyle Gray card for angel reading number 4 is Star Ancestor, follow the voice of your soul. And I find this so interesting because we see the constellations. We see the star ancestor as, beyond. This is beyond the realm of angels. This is coming from I see the Great Pyramids, and I feel like these are celestial beings that watch over us. Some people are familiar with the Palladians, the Lemurians, and ancient cultures that we have that have lived here on Earth and in other realms. And I feel like the star ancestor is saying that there is a bigger voice that you haven't experienced in this small encasing human body. And as you allow for that, and you follow that voice, you will find a validation that voice is supporting you. So here we go. Angel reading number 4. For those of you that picked it, the star ancestor is saying that your frustration is blocking you from holding yourself in a position to receive the Holy Grail. The chalice here represents the Holy Grail. The knight, the sword represents the Excalibur, the sword of truth. And in many ways, as you follow the voice of your soul, you may be angered and frustrated with illusions that are breaking away. This week, we have a full moon, which is in a square aspect to Mars. Mars is the truth seeker in its highest vibration, and it will literally reject lies. It will reject illusions. It will reject things that are not resonating to its depths, to its most authentic voice of the soul. So as you walk through this week and you're aware of your frustrations, and your opportunity is to rise above those frustrations, to seeing the signs and the omens that there is a balancing, there is a reconciliation coming. And I say that because even though Archangel Raphael represents healing, I don't believe that we're broken. I believe that we're having contrasting experiences, that when we discover what we don't want, it urges us to seek higher ground to what we do want, and to understand that our frustration in the process is only blocking us. So as we are aware, the angel's advice is our perception, and we keep charging ahead, regardless of the path being dark, the path being unclear. This mystique, the angel mystique, I think of it as Gloria Estefan's song, Coming Out of the Dark and Into the Light. When she had her bus accident, I believe it was in the 90s, it might have been in the early 2000s, I can't remember the date. She was unsure if she would ever walk again, if she would ever dance again. And she's an icon of salsa and of Latin music. So her movements were very much how the public saw her, a dancer, a singer, someone who brought vitality into a situation. And she went through this time of unsureness, and yet she kept plugging ahead. So those of you that picked angel reading number 4, being able to plug ahead through your perceptions, to understand that as you fly as high as you possibly can, you will see the wisdom through the challenge, through the frustration that you've experienced, because you're going through a transformation. And that transformation is really one of going from listening to other people's voices to allowing your own voice, the voice of your soul, to be your North Star. And I want to offer it this way, because some people might say you're selfish to do what you want. Think of others rather than thinking of yourself. But in many ways, when they're asking you to think of others rather than yourself, they're asking for you to be more mindful of them than of you. And in doing so, they're being selfish. So I'm not asking you to villainize somebody. I'm not asking you to stand in in a place of entitlement, rather than to be flowing with the idea that if I'm honoring what I want for myself and I allow myself to go through this process of really illuminating what is what I want and what is what I think I want, because somebody has told me it is good for me, it will make me money, it will make me acceptable to others, because this is a time of deep transformation. The swan not only goes from the ugly duckling to the swan as per the fable, but this particular energy represents trusting my inner intuitions, my psychic gifts, my connection to the other side, to the part of me that is not encased in this human vessel, to the part of me that is beyond the word expansion. So allow the voice of your soul to lead you this week. Allow your voice to, if you're unsure as to whether this is your soul or this is your personality, then connect with Archangel Gabriel to help you to differentiate between the two. Because the more you follow the voice of your soul, the more joy you will express, just it's almost like a natural side effect of following your soul's voice, and that side effect has a ripple effect that invites others into that same experience. And as they tell two friends and they tell two friends, what we find is a humanity that is now not trying to avoid fear or challenges, but embracing them because they're aligned to where we want to go and what we want to experience. All right, let's go on to our final angel reading for the week, angel reading number 5. Our Kyle Gray card is the seer, and it says, see beyond the current situation. I find it so interesting that, most of these oracle cards that talk about seeing, the pictures always depict somebody whose eyes are closed or their eyes are covered, because seeing has nothing to do with the eyes. It has very much to do with the inner knowing. So when you're contemplating seeing beyond the current situation, it isn't necessarily having the answer or the solution, but rather knowing or starting to muse, contemplate, ponder, percolate, think about, daydream about what it would feel like to be beyond the current situation. Many people are experiencing challenges financially as a result of COVID and the pandemic and the shutdowns throughout the world. Many of us are experiencing challenges of ill health, and various other things. This has been a year, 2020, 2019, 2020, and 2021 are the demolition of the house of our mind, so that we can rebuild it in a way that is current to how we've evolved. So let's go on to our first set of angels in the foundational position. For those of you that picked angel reading number 5, in order to see beyond the current situation, Francesca is saying, what do you visualize right now? Visualize what will feel good, because negativity is actually blocking your progress. Now, when we're in pain, when we have the bill collectors calling, it's hard to really go into a place of joy. So, because that would be a resistant energy to try to force yourself into feeling good when you're feeling challenged. So this is when I believe that you allow Spirit. Thank you, Spirit, for giving me the eyes to know that my abundance is coming. Because the cow represents nourishment and abundance, but it also represents asking and receiving. So in this time, for those of you that picked angel reading number 5, rather than asking for the abundance of money, it would be more about asking Spirit to give you an abundance of being able to see beyond the current situation, and how that current situation could ultimately be feeding you, fueling you, nurturing your abundance. because in the opportunity or the obstacle, we have the novice representing an unstable new beginning, skill without practice. And then we have Ariel saying that new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself and the world. That's where the seer comes back in, because it's an inner knowing versus an outer knowing. And that inner knowing is not solid. It's more of a yearning. And in order to trust that yearning, it's also about remembering that the times we have right now are not necessarily favorable for action, for moving the story forward, but rather the movement comes as I continue to connect with spirit, and I go and I start to practice my skills, practice my talents, practice musing about what it is that I want to experience beyond the current situation. Because we can tell from the seer asking us to move beyond the current situation that the situation is challenging. And then we have the movement card. The movement comes from allowing your mind to muse beyond it and your heart to trust a bigger picture. Because in the final position, we have Athena saying that it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself. And then we have the forgiveness card. And for me, the forgiveness card is akin to reconciliation. And let me define how I see reconciliation. It is not I reconcile with you. No, it's I reconcile with myself how a negative experience actually was the manure that fertilized the garden of my dreams. So as I allow myself to see inside of through my heart's eyes, not my head's eyes, and I speak to spirit about asking and receiving. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, my team of heavenly hosts, for helping me to see beyond the current situation and whatever negative energy that is welling up inside of me, because I am standing in a very unstable position and I need Spirit to help me be more stable. And as I do that, I worry more about what's on the interior of my body, in my thoughts, than I do the exterior. And in doing so, I end up finding myself much more powerful, because the illumination, and we have a full moon in Leo this week, that Leo moon represents my heart. It represents me being vulnerable to my heart. Leo represents the heart in the zodiac, personal pleasure. It represents personal genius, my ideas, my voice, my expression. And there will be something that makes sense. It's almost as if you may end up saying to yourself, well, gosh, if I could have moved that story forward, that it would not have been as fruitful as now that I've had to wait. And I didn't like waiting because I didn't know why I had to wait. But hindsight is 2020. All right. That's it for this week's Pick an Angel card reading. Again, these readings are designed to help you connect with your team of heavenly hosts that are watching over you, supporting you, and loving you from the other side. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, and intuitive guide and intuitive astrologer. And I am doing a little plug here. I'm till the end of January, I am offering $25 or $20 off a past life reading, astrological reading based on your natal chart. So what I'll do is look at the points in your chart that indicate where your soul has been and how that serves moving you forward in this lifetime. It is a 20 to 30 minute recorded reading. And if you'd like to take advantage of that, you can reach me through my contact information in the description. And otherwise, please like, subscribe, share. Remember to put on your notifications and please comment. I'll be back next week on Tuesday with your next Pick an Angel card reading. Have a great week, everybody. Peace out.